very, very patchy, and we certainly want to ensure that we as market research practitioners are on the forefront and we do things right before everybody else, before the more commercial applications do things right. Data processing and security. You may remember the case in 2006, so in the heyday of the fixed internet, when a big American ISP lost a log file of 200 million searches, and which were uniquely identifiable to 650,000 people. And the problem was that the fact that you could link the searches made some of the people individually identifiable. So that was for the ISP at the time quite a nightmare scenario. Now imagine this happening if you're dealing with a mobile log file that does not include this, but also includes call, messaging, and all your itemized location information. So what kind of a problem this would be. And this really brings us to respondent anonymity and data aggregation, so we need to ensure that the anonymity is secured, especially because you have to transfer it over a network, and it is for large data sets that make it easy to identify people individually. And finally, a point which is pretty unique for this kind of research is the issue of device functionality. So you're basically asking people to install a piece of software on the phone, and it may be just because of development shortcuts, things that happens all the time, a bug that wasn't seen in QA, the fact that people have individual settings on the phone. That sometimes happens. Something happens on the phone which takes out some device functionalities, and you certainly don't want to be known, whether you're a brand, an agency, or a technical provider, to a group of consumers as those guys who bricked my iPhone because I installed an application onto the device. Okay, so how do we address these in the guidelines that we have set up? So on the first part, certainly there should be no mixing of marketing and market research. For instance, to give you one concrete example, there shouldn't be any advertising on applications that are specifically made for market research, except, of course, in the case if you're actually doing advertising testing, but there shouldn't be any case of you actually putting advertising on an app that is also used for market research. Opt-in and clear privacy policy. So now we've seen an increased need by application developers to put a privacy policy onto their application, often a privacy policy that is accessible before people download the application. It's still very patchy. You find that very big publishers still don't have set this up in the way that it's supposed to be since February this year. But as said, I think that in our industry, because of the spotlight we're under and also of the kind of relationship that we have with the respondents, we should make sure that we are ahead of the pack when looking at this. Secure data transfer is probably quite obvious. What is especially important, I think, is, oops, I'm over time. Well, it's ensuring that you have a firewall between the personally identifiable data and the consumption data, which also brings us to anonymity. And then when it comes to device setting, on one hand, you should avoid to do anything unless it's strictly necessary.